All right, let's get things set up. Kevin, he's back on the stream with the Festival lead deck. We saw that in the last round. A very interesting deck. So I'm interested to see now how it goes. Two different rounds, especially in a row here. So it's going to be interesting. Out there, we have him playing Dragapult. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. Kevin told me that he's not played against Dragapult yet with this deck. So it's going to be very interesting, to say the least. So let's see how this goes. Thanks for joining us tonight. Having a great old time here at Impact Gaming Center in Fairview Heights, Illinois. And let's get round 3 rocking and rolling here. All right. All right, our players getting set up here. Here comes the roll to see who will go first or second. And here we go. All right, let's get everything set up here. Round 3 of 4 tonight. All right, looks like both players have starting Pokemon.
Should we let them know? I think they're okay. All right. Good luck, man. Good luck.
All right, here we go, folks. Round 3 of 4 begins. Festival lead versus Dragapult EX. All right, looks like Aldera starts with the Blood Moon Ursulana in the active. Not necessarily what you want to see in the active spot to start, but that's all right. You know, with that 3 retreat cost, it could be trouble getting him out of the active spot, but I'm sure there's ways in the deck there for him to do so. All right, he gets what everybody wants at the very beginning. In that first turn, he gets those 2 Buddy Poffins down, which allows him to pull 4 basic Pokemon out of the deck and onto his board. Of course, the Pokemon have to be 70 HP or less. All right, so looks like he gets the Duskulls down. He's got 2 of those now on the board. Looks to be it's what he will play. He's also playing down 2 Dreepies. So hoping to get all 4 of these rocking and rolling early. And that's what you want to do with Dragapult. You don't want to waste any time. You need to get these Dragapult EXs moving as quickly as possible. And I know on Kevin's side of the board, he wants those Diplins moving as quick as well. The other thing with this Festival lead deck, and I guess you could say this about any deck in the format, you got to have a lot of the right pieces at the right time, you know. And I feel like, especially with this Festival lead deck, you need that. You know, you need that stadium card out there. You need, or you want the Bengal, the tool card on there for that extra damage and such. So a lot of pieces to move around here in the Festival lead deck. But either way, we saw last round, it definitely comes together pretty fast, it seems like. So if you've not heard of this Festival lead deck, let me run it down for you. So you have Diplin with the Festival lead ability. If Festival Grounds is in play, the Pokemon may use an attack. It has twice. The first attack knocks out your opponent's active Pokemon. You may attack again after your opponent chooses a new active Pokemon, and that's what it does. But you do have to have Festival Grounds, the stadium card, in play to make that happen. He also plays in the deck Grookey and Thwackey. Thwackey has that Boom Boom Groove ability. Once during your turn, if your active Pokemon has the Festival lead ability, you may search your deck for a card and put it in your hand and then shuffle your deck. I was talking to Kevin. I said, Kevin, this is a pretty cool deck. I'm sure it's been out there. Obviously, these cards in tandem and have so much involvement together, just something that I've not discovered yet. So it was pretty cool seeing it here on the table during our little mini tournament here, because it's a unique deck, something you don't normally see. All right, looks like Kevin passes turn. So he'll get 2 of those Applins out and 1 Grookey. So next turn could possibly be a huge turn for Kevin. All right, here we go on their side of the board. Dragapult. He's got that Blood Moon Ursaluna in the active, and again, that could be a problem for a few turns. We will see if he has a way to get that out of the active, but that's a pretty big card with a 3 retreat cost, so not very easy to get out of there. Not the card you want to see started. Also, 2 Duskulls on the board. If you're not, super familiar with Duskull, it does evolve into Dusclops, and it has that Cursed Blast ability. Once during your turn, you may put 5 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. If you use this ability, this Pokemon is knocked out, so your opponent gets to take a prize card, but you do get to put that 5 damage counters on any of your opponent's Pokemon, which can build up pretty quick. All right, so an Iono is now in play, so each player will shuffle the cards and put them on the bottom of the deck and then draw up for the number of prize cards that they have. It does look like he got down the Dracloak, 1 Dracloak on the board, so that will be a pretty big chance for him next turn to get that Dragapult EX down. I think in theory here he really wants to get 2 Dracloaks down, so then he can possibly have 2 Dragapult EXs next turn. I mean, Dracloak is no slouch either with that Recon Directive ability. Looking at the top 2 cards and putting one of them in the hand and the other at the bottom of the deck. That can work out. If luck is on your side, it can work out very, very well. All right, puts down an energy card there on the Dracloak, and will pass turn. Again, that Blood Moon Ursaluna is definitely staring him down there in the active position. All right, moving over to Kevin's side of the board now. Let's see what he has available to him moving forward. Let's see if he can get these Diplins out and rolling. He needs a few different pieces, though, to really get this deck moving. He gets another Grookey on the board. So 2 of those, 3 of the Applins. As we saw last round, this deck can move quick. I mean, we can see it doing some pretty fancy things and pretty fast as well. So this turn can go off big for Kevin if he gets, the pieces that he needs, the moments he needs them. Also looking at stream chat, Falcon, thank you for joining us here on the live stream. And you didn't know people actually played Pokemon, thought it was only for collecting. No, my friend, it is also an awesome, awesome card game as well. But welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining us here on this Tuesday night. All right, Kevin shuffling through here. We'll play the Pokegear. Look at the top 7 cards, looking for a supporter card of any kind. Let's see what he finds. I believe he put a boss's orders there at the top. Not sure if you want to do that yet. I feel like that's a later turn deal, unless he has a way to knock out this Dracloak this turn, which is possible. We need to get those fancy hand cams where you put a camera on like the brim of their shirt where they can see their hands. Let's get extra fancy up in here. All right, so it does look like he grabs that boss's orders, and we'll see if he decides to use it this turn. I feel like maybe grabbing that for an upcoming turn. All right, he does have 1 energy in hand. Okay, gets the Diplin down. He does bring out the Dracloak. Okay, here we go. So this is the play I thought he may do with that boss's orders. So let's see. Let's math it here. Let's see if he can knock out this Dracloak this turn, and he can. So that's a huge, huge knockout for Kevin. and he will take a prize there. And now Aldair has to figure out, where do we go from here? So he does have that other Dreepy down. So a Dragapult EX technically still could come out this turn and could still pop off for him on his side of the board. We'll see if that's the direction he goes. I think in some ways that also helped him getting that Blood Moon out of the active position. But at the same time, you don't want to not take knockouts either, especially when you have the boss's orders and you have that open Dracloak there that you can knock out pretty easily. I think that was the obviously the smartest move Kevin can make that time around. All right, so Aldair gets another Dreepy down on the board. Judge plays the Judge card, a card that's been around for a long, long time, keeps getting reprinted, and seemingly with better art every time, at least in my opinion. And speaking of artwork, you have to admit that Pokemon has some pretty cool artwork. They've definitely over the years really advanced the artwork. I mean, it was funny. I was going through some old original base set cards the other day, taking a look at those, and it's just kind of crazy how far the artwork and just the overall design has come and however long, you know. All right, so a fresh hand now for each player after the judge. Oh, he grabbed one extra card. Yeah, Kevin grabbed 5 instead of 4 cards. That's right. They worked it out of the table. All right, Aldair will drop down the Dusclops. Plays the Ultra Ball. Let's see what he grabs here. I'm assuming a Dracloak. Yes, that's indeed what he'll grab. So he's going to try to get that Dragapult set up. It's interesting. Both times here, it seems like we've had problems getting that Dragapult set up, which makes you wonder if that's just a. Yeah, that one there, it seems like, okay, they're talking. So what happened there was that Dreepy was benched this turn, so he will have to put the Dracloak on the other Dreepy who's been on the board now for a couple of turns. All right, so let's see here what he may do. He may take that Dusclops and put 50 damage on the board on Kevin's side of the board. Let's take a look at some of the cards in Kevin's side. He can knock out an Applin with that. He can also no, he can't take a knockout on the Grookey. So if Aldair wanted to, he could take a knockout on one of the Applins on Kevin's side of the board. Kevin would take another prize card though, because once that card is knocked out, he's able to take a prize card. There's so many different pathways to victory in a lot of these decks. It's interesting to see what some players decide to do. All right, so it does look like he takes the knockout there with the Dusclops, and he takes the knockout there on the Grookey, I believe. No, the Relor. Yeah, he takes a knockout on the Relor, which had 50 HP. So Kevin will take a prize card there, so he'll move down now to 4 prize cards, and Aldair will be knocked down to 5 prize cards. So what happens there is, in case you're not familiar with that card, basically now Aldair continues to play. That wasn't his attack. That was rather an ability on the Dusclops. So he can take a knockout there, and continue to play. He does bring that Blood Moon up into the active position, which is interesting as well. Not sure if Kevin can hit those numbers this turn or not. All right, so here we go. Kevin putting down all of the stage 1 Pokemon. So he had those ready to go. Man, wow. What a hand. What a hand for Kevin there. He gets him down, and he gets that Bengal on the active, which does that extra 30 damage. Blood Moon, let's see. I believe it has 240, no, 260
Do you need,
HP.
Oh no, you need somebody in the active. It's a,
So he needs to hit 260 here with the Diplin to take the knockout.
The stadium itself prevents special condition if you have an energy.
So Kevin's deck, much like last round, it seems like it's doing what it wants to do and should be doing. The only issue here now is he doesn't have that Festival Grounds Stadium card out on the board, which is a very important part of what this thing does. And so I don't know if there's a way for him to get this card out this turn or not. Not sure what card he has in hand. Looks like he's grabbing the Pal Pad out of the deck there.
What? You get pass? I did not. Pal Pad.
Okay, so he's playing Pal Pad. He grabs the boss's orders.
I think that's the only one in there. Yeah. Shuffling boss up.
Boss's orders up the Dracloak. And there you have it. And he did this last round as well. That's the thing. If you can't get those Dragapults out, it's very, very difficult to get that deck moving.
now that tells me that you only have one pass and you use the Papa. I wonder if you have a second Papa.
Unless it's bronze. I'll do the way.
All right.
And there's the knockout on the Dracloak. So there we go. Kevin goes down to 3 prize cards. And Aldair finds himself in a awkward position. However, he does have... Well, okay, so he does put down the other Dracloak there. So I wonder if he plays Rare Candy in his deck.
If I did the Carmine, but I didn't.
He probably, I don't know if he has a Rare Candy in his deck or not. Maybe that's why he's, naturally evolving them instead of with the Rare Candy. So again, Kevin, next turn, it's very possible to get another boss's orders and take a knockout here, which would be very, very detrimental to Aldair's side of the board. All right, so let's take a look here. So he could technically get another Dusclops on the board, which is another 50 damage that he can output. That would take Kevin down to 2 prizes, which then in turn... all Kevin would have to do then is, he would just have to obviously take a 2 prize card, attacker down, which I think he can hit that 260 on the Blood Moon. He could also take that Latios EX down as well. It's only got 210. I think that's probably the way that Kevin would go if Aldair decides to use this Dusclops this turn. The question is, though, really, with that, is there a reason to play that card at this point? He could knock out that Applin on the board, but that would be about it, I believe. And would that be enough reason to put Kevin in that position to only be able to take out 2 prizes?
You have 2. That'd be scary. You got one of the Applins?
Okay, so he does decide to Dusclops 50 damage and knock out the Applin. This brings Kevin down now to 2 prize cards. Oh, he's okay. Wait a minute. He's thinking about it now. That's all right. Okay, so he technically hasn't. He's thinking about if he wants to actually do that or not. Not sure that it's in his best interest to do that. Okay, so he does decide to do that. So he knocks out the Applin, which will send Kevin down now to 2 prize cards remaining. So all Kevin theoretically has to do here is knock out this Latios next turn for 2 prizes to take the win. Aldair does have 1 Dracloak on the bench, so he theoretically could get that Dragapult set up next turn. Yeah, this is tough. This is going to be tough for him to come back from this. It seems like Kevin pretty much on the board has what he wants. And it's also interesting to see that Kevin does not have that stadium card out either. And that seems to play a pretty big part in this deck. And it's interesting that he's not had that card out. So that also shows the power of this this Diplin as well. All right, so it looks like he will attach energy to the Blood Moon. So if you're not familiar with the Blood Moon, it can do 240 damage, and it's minus the amount of energy of prize cards that your opponent's taken. So he will still need, I believe, let's see, does it have a 6 energy cost or 5 energy cost? It has a 5 energy cost. Okay, so he can take a knockout here with the Blood Moon, and will take the prize card there, and we'll go down to 4 cards. All right, so Kevin promotes the Diplin into the active spot. The Blood Moon now on Aldair's side of the board. And pretty much at this point, Kevin needs to knock that card out. Or obviously the Latios to win. But if he can knock this out, or at least get it back on the bench, then he's not... I don't know. This is tough. I think...
I do not.
Wait, you can also have.
I think the route here is to knock out that Latios, unless he can hit that 260 damage on the Blood Moon, which I believe, I don't know. I don't know if that's a bit more than he can do. Not entirely sure on the math on that. Oh, there's the Stadium card. Okay, finally see the Stadium card and the Bangle in hand.
That is 60.
There's the energy.
Black belts. So 60, 130 times 2, 260.
Oh, is it?
Holy smokes, he's able to knock out that Blood Moon with 260 damage. He played the black belt card. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at that card here. Let me see if I can. Yeah, there you go, folks. Wow, man, I'm I am starting to become a believer in this festival lead deck. I'm not gonna lie. I'm starting to become a festival lead believer. This is where I'm at. What a man, what an interesting matchup though. And again, the Dragapult could just not get going for Aldair. Just could not get going. And we've seen that in the first round as well. With Oliver's Dragapult deck. Yeah, it's hard, man. Those stage 2 Pokemon can be very, very difficult. So, awesome stuff. Well, round 3 is in the books here at Impact Gaming Center for Tuesday night Pokemon. We hope you're enjoying the stream. Thank you so much for being here. And yeah, we'll have round 4 coming up in just a bit. So stay with us, folks. We'd love to have you for the next round. All right, we'll be back here at Impact.